No, boy. The crap you're about to listen to is from the Monkey Basement.
Leave him alone. It's a good show.
Yes, I'm sure. This coming from the idiot who dresses as a bat and fights crime in the middle of the night. It must be wonderful.
Welcome to this week's edition of From the Monkey Basement. I'm Mike Mann, and with me I have Adam. He's back.
Hello, everyone.
And one of Adam's friends, Chris.
Yep, that's me.
Who's in a death metal band.
Doom metal.
They know him as Chris Malice.
Yeah.
What was the name of the band again?
Traitors Return to Earth.
We were just listening to a little bit of it. It's pretty good shit. But we had kind of what we want to talk about already. And I don't mean to really start with it, but I think it might go for a while. But you guys had the subject of 10 worst comic book characters of all time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about comics, so I'll say mine first, and you guys can tear it apart or tell me why I'm wrong or if I am right.
Okay.
But this character does, to me, from what I've seen in the movies, I only know this character from the movies. Mainstream movies, and that's it. I've never read any comics with this character in it, but Rogue.
Okay.
She doesn't do shit in the movies, except she can kill you. If she holds on to you too long, she's got to get close enough to you first, without you kicking her ass first.
Well, that's kind of where the movies had it a little wrong. I mean, that was her original mutant power, but Rogue back in the 80s she held on to Miss Marvel for too long.
Explain that.
Well,
somebody told me that part.
Okay. Miss Marvel was one of the Avengers, and Rogue held on to her way too long. If Rogue holds on to someone, the longer she holds on to him, the more she absorbs.
And they kind of showed that example in the first X-Men when she woke up Logan and he stabbed her.
Yeah.
And she used his power to fix herself.
Right. Well, in Miss Marvel's case, Rogue developed super strength. She could fly. She was pretty much invulnerable.
And these were all powers of Miss Marvel.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so then Rogue was just really badass. And to me, she was a tragic character. I mean, she was like, out of the X-Men women, like, she was the one I loved the most.
She couldn't touch anybody, though.
They found out.
Makes you want it more.
She could touch.
She's a tease, bitch.
She could touch Colossus in his metal form. She found out that didn't affect anything. But I couldn't imagine that in the bedroom.
You're dead. If you want it that bad, you're gonna die.
Deadpool actually, I think, kissed her, and she just took on some of his insanity.
Did she start to kill him, though?
Well, he's got a healing factor.
Yeah, but I don't know. That just sounds... I mean, if he does have that healing factor, she can still... So they're just going to keep going back and forth. I'm going to kill you.
In the Deadpool game, she just... Deadpool
she's in the Deadpool game?
Oh, yeah. A few of the X-Men are.
The best way to nail Rogue would probably get those giant condoms from...
Those body condoms.
Those body condoms from Naked Gun. I mean, that's the best way to get
I don't know. Maybe like Luke Cage could, because he's got like impenetrable skin.
Yeah. I think the movies didn't do Rogue that good.
I liked her as a character. She seemed like a cool character, but when you really realize she doesn't do shit.
Yeah, she really don't do shit in the movies. She's a strong character. That's one of my fiance's favorite characters. She likes Rogue and Gambit a lot.
I saw Gambit in Wolverine Origins, and I was like, he seems like a cool character. I'm going to find something of his.
Stick to the 90s Gambit. After 2000, they've lost all concept of the character.
Yeah.
He almost made the list with the other guy that was supposed to be here.
Really?
He's like, I'm this close to putting Gambit on there.
Oh, wow.
In the movie, though, I think he was shoehorned in there.
What is his power? I mean, he could throw some playing cards.
Well,
what else?
He could really just charge anything with kinetic energy.
Oh, okay.
So
that's how he can do that with the cards.
He likes the cards, but he like this book or, this table or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then, the bigger the object, the bigger the explosion.
Oh, okay. But I did a little poll, and I found a couple characters that people said that they were bad characters, and one of them I told you guys before we started, and you guys are like, I don't know who the fuck that is, and it was the blind guy. No idea.
I don't know. I'm going to take a crack at it. I just read Dynamite's been doing a reissue of a lot of the old pulp comic book heroes from back in the day, and one of the characters was the Black Bat. And when you think about the character, you're going to go like, oh, it's Batman. It's like Batman meets Daredevil. He's blind. He's a former lawyer, and what ended up happened is I just read one issue, and I thought it was pretty good.
So he's Daredevil and Batman all wrapped up into
Well,
one.
he kind of looks
He's
like
Bat Devil.
Yeah, it's
Dare Man.
it was a good issue. I only read one issue because I got like 6 different comics that day. I was like, I need to get some Secret Six. Definitely need to get some Bloodshot, and I was like, I'm going to try this out because so far Dynamite has been Dynamite. Yeah, Dynamite and Valiant are like the 2 comic book companies I read some things from DC, and Marvel just pisses me off too much as of late. It's just like, oh, cool, we can make movies, so we don't really need to try to sell good comics. We'll kill off a major character in this story arc, and we'll bring him back, and probably it's that time he's coming back.
Well, Chris, you're pissed at Marvel about the way they've been treating the Punisher as of late.
Punisher's the easiest fucking thing to write. It is not hard to write Punisher. He blows people away. He shoots people.
Just kills people.
He kills scumbags. You don't need to put him in fucking space. You don't need to make him an avenging angel. You definitely don't need to make him a fucking zombie.
He was a Frankenstein.
It doesn't matter. It was still fucking. That's number 2 on my list.
Every time you hit that table,
well,
it's a spike. Spike. There's like 8 of them here.
Yeah,
He's passionate about
He's passionate,
protection.
yeah.
I mean, my 3 favorite superheroes are Batman, Punisher, and Green Arrow. And again,
None who have powers.
Yeah, none have powers because
That's why I like Batman so much. He's just a man who knows how to fucking punch people in the face.
There is a
And he's got such a tragic story. I mean,
there is a documentary that came with the Batman Gotham Knight movie, and the documentary is really good. It's called Mirror for the Bat. And
is that an animated movie?
Yeah,
that's the one they did where it's done in the style of anime.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have to look into that.
There's like 4 different stories on it, each with a different anime director, so the artwork's always different. But it's the voice actor from the animated series,
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy as Batman in that.
Oh yeah.
the
Oh,
best
wow.
Bat voice ever.
Yeah, when I first started reading, I read a lot as Christian Bale in my head, but then I saw the Dark Knight Returns movie and changed it to Peter Weller.
Yeah,
And then I go back and forth between Conroy and Weller now.
yeah.
No death metal Batman.
No.
No, but
Death Metal Batman.
That should be a band name.
where was I about to get at? The thing about this documentary,
Your favorite characters?
That's my 3 favorite. My all time favorite fictional character is the Joker, just because he's a fucking wacko. That's it.
Yeah.
He's like the devil, only funny. You know, he thinks death is amusing. I think it's funny because I think the world is going to eventually collapse on its own, and I'm going to sit back and smile and laugh at it.
So any therapists out there listening to this, his name is Chris Malice. He needs help.
But when I see Punisher done wrong, because I've read a ton of the Garth Ennis run of Punisher from the Punisher Max, and the way Garth Ennis does Punisher, it's either really serious, something from like an action film that's good, or over the top and Boondock Saintsy. And it's either one of those 2 ways. Like there's 4 really good, more serious books. Man of Stone, The Slavers, it's one of my all-time favorite books. Up is Down, Black is White. Some gangster decides it'd be a great idea to make a video of him pissing on the remains of Punisher's family.
Put it up on YouTube?
They sent
on
it
the
to
evening news.
On the evening news.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
the next panel after Punisher sees this is just him holding a glass with this stone face, and that's when you know the rest of this book is going to be full of dead people.
I like how the other mob bosses reacted when they saw that video.
Yeah, they're like, "You're going to get us all killed." He's going to go nuts.
I've read one thing with the Punisher, and that was it was a Deadpool book, and the moment in that book, I may have said it on the other show we did.
I do have that crossover.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I think it's Deadpool Max.
Okay, then I don't have that one. There was one with the regular Deadpool book back in like 2003.
I don't know. This is a trade. I don't know But he's standing with the Punisher, and this is when I fell in love with Deadpool. He's standing with the Punisher, and Deadpool just shoots this guy on the ground, and Punisher's like, "Why'd you do that?" He goes, "Because it's my book, and I knew you were going to do it." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "Nothing." But I've seen the movie, and I thought they did good on the movie. I mean, do you think you're passionate about Punisher? Do you think they did good on the movie?
The first one with Thomas Jane's is all right. I think a lot of people were complaining that it was just not violent enough. And then they did Warzone, and it was really violent but shitty. I own Warzone. Because,
they went the other way.
Yeah, I own. Yeah, no substance, no plot, just people getting their heads blown off. Now, that's a fun Friday night movie. You know, I had a bad day at my old job, so I'm going to put this in because I want to dream about people getting their heads blown off. But if you're trying to, I don't know, be entertained by a good story, that's not something to see.
No, that and they did Jigsaw totally wrong in that movie.
Jigsaw, isn't that the one in Saw?
Well,
no,
that's a Jigsaw.
Oh,
but
it's a different Jigsaw.
Jigsaw is like the Punisher's Joker. You know, like that's his number one villain.
Oh, okay.
And the way they did him in that
I thought
movie,
it was John Travolta.
Well, no, Travolta as a villain's good. You don't want Travolta as anything else.
I'll say this.
Because wasn't he the villain in the first
Yeah,
Punisher?
he was the mob boss.
Yeah.
I was looking up, at one point I said I was looking online, I was Googling Punisher villains, and there was only 8. And it said
That
the weirdest
survived.
Punisher. Yeah. It said the weirdest Punisher villains. And like, look, when your main character blows everyone away after he first encounters him, you're not going to have a large list of
Recurring characters.
Of rogues gallery. There was Jigsaw, Barracuda. Barracuda's the shit.
Barracuda is funny, but he is like the worst stereotype I've ever read.
Oh yeah, he is. He's almost like 7 foot tall.
Almost 7 feet tall.
I'm just
Does he look like a fish?
no.
No.
He looks like someone from L.A.
Oh yeah.
during the L.A. riots.
I'm trying to think of what wrestler he might look like.
Like
if New Jack had a lot of muscle, I guess he could
Yeah.
be New Jack.
yeah, he's like that. Yeah, he's very thuggin', but he's awesome.
He's hysterical. He's awesome without being offensive, I think.
I don't think he's that offensive.
No, I mean when I say
You
offensive,
mean as a black character?
as a
that's-
bad stereotype,
Yeah.
you know, like in the 70s, comics had a bunch of them. I remember reading an article in Wizard magazine. They're like, this is why, you know, like real suburban white guys should not write, you know, black characters. And
It's like Vanilla Ice.
it was
Yeah.
even
Shouldn't
worse.
try rap.
Like it was a Justice League comic, and it had was it Black Lightning in it, and Superman's like, you know, would you like to join the Justice League? Instead of just answering normal, it was the 70s. They're like, his answer has to be nothing but slang, and it was something like, like, I ain't joining you, jive turkeys, and I'm like, really? That
They went there.
you got paid to write that?
All right. Speaking of like the 70s and 80s characters that were pretty much created from those movements, another one on my list.
Well,
I think
what? Let's wait. Your list of the 10 worst.
10 worst characters.
We'll wait. We'll wait on that till when we actually get going. I guess this is just introduction to.
No, we can do
This
it.
is the introduction to what's going on inside our heads.
Oh, I was gonna say we could go there if you want. That's
Okay,
cool.
well, but the original thing about Rogue was I like Rogue. I think if you want a good representation of her, you know, aside from the comics, go back to the original X-Men cartoon in the early 90s. They really showed how powerful she was, but how emotionally fragile she was.
Yeah.
And
I
how-
mean,
Because she
they
was
showed her being emotionally fragile in the movies.
Right, but I mean, you got that. You didn't really get to see the whole.
You got basically
Scope of her character.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
through the movies, you got the whole "I'm a teenager and I can't be touched" kind of. And I
My
mean, she
life
did
is over.
she did it well. Anna Paquin was.
Well,
Yeah, I thought she
I
did.
fell in love with Anna Paquin because of that. Then True Blood just reinforced that.
she's in
How old are you?
30.
I was gonna say you don't look that old. I mean, all the facial hair and everything still.
Oh, thank you. I've been told I look like 40 before.
No, I'm almost 40.
I met him when he was 15. I thought he was 21.
Like, dude, buy us beer. I can't.
They
I'm
used to
15.
ask you that.
Yeah.
Did
got
you
asked-
have the beard and shit then?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This thing.
With a pedo bear shirt on. This guy told me.
Hey guys, want some ice cream?
This guy told me he went to a at Comic-Con or some sort of con, and there's someone dressed as
That was
Pedo
me.
Bear. Yeah.
It was an anime con. There was a guy dressed as Peta Bear there, and this little kid wanted his picture with him because he thought just a giant teddy bear, and his dad's like, nope.
Did you see the article of Brazil's new testicular cancer mascot?
No.
It's a pair of balls. It is. I have a picture of it. Some dude. There's like little curly hairs all over. It's got this big, freaky ass smile. It is one of the creepiest fucking things.
What do they call him? Saki?
No,
This is Brazil, right?
yeah.
Isn't that the country where they had that? Wow.
And this is a
I can see that being on Family Guy.
Yeah, no shit. And you look, there's his arms sticking out. There's a guy in the
Tell me he doesn't pose with children.
dude. That picture right there with the
Holy
little girl.
shit!
It's like a 10-year-old girl standing with
That's
him.
illegal in 58 of these great states.
Like, Daddy, can I get a picture with the balls? But just the smile on that's creepy.
Isn't that where they had that? There was this crazy soccer game going on. It was a minor league soccer game, right? And the ref kept kicking this one player off the court, and the guy kept giving the ref shit, and I'm not leaving. So the ref stabbed the guy. It
The
gets
ref
worse.
has a knife on him?
Yeah, the ref had a knife on him, stabbed the guy.
Was this a soccer game?
Yeah, it was a soccer game.
Oh, those
it goes
fuckers are
downhill
crazy.
from here.
Well, wait, downhill?
Yes. What ends up happening is the crowd ends up going hysterics. They run to the field, and they get a hold of the ref, and they end up putting his head on a stick.
What?
I kid you not.
How did they tear the head off the body? Or
There was a head on the stick by the end of this.
I mean, you get enough people to grab one end and enough people to grab the other end.
or maybe some big
Somebody
guy-
else had a machete.
Right.
I was at work, and I was like, man, I got a fuck of a headache. And then I turned around, I was like, at least my head's not on a fucking stick in the middle of a soccer field, so I'm fine.
Now,
Oh my
yeah, I
God.
want to see someone argue how American football is more brutal than the other kind.
I mean, you could look up hooligans or soccer fans in Europe and like Brazil and
Soccer
Mexico.
riots.
Those motherfuckers are crazy.
Oh,
Those,
yeah.
those people will tear down a fucking stadium if
so
their
will
team
Cleveland
loses.
fans.
Don't say that. My mom listens to this shit. She's hardcore Browns
Oh,
fan.
so's my mom. All right. Well, hey. Did you want to do your list? I'll let you go first.
All right, so I got a list.
Your top 10 worst comic book characters of all time?
Yeah.
All right. Number 10 will be Batman from All Star, Batman and Robin, written by Frank Miller. Or as I like to call him, and Link Carr likes to call him, Crazy Steve.
Was that you? I think it was you telling me
So-
that Batman is like fucking psychotic and he like kidnaps Robin.
Basically,
Yeah.
kidnaps Robin.
Yeah, he does, and he says, "I'm going to recruit you for the worst line in it." Like Frank Miller's one of those guys when he's brilliant as a writer, he's brilliant. When it's
That
horrible,
ship has sailed.
Yeah, when it's horrible, it's All Star, Batman and Robin, and The Dark Knight Strikes Again. And
I've
the
never
fiction-
read that.
Oh.
I read the first one. I didn't read the prequel, and he told me not to.
Yeah, it's bad. When Frank Miller's bad, it's really horrible. It's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Number 9 is
I can't believe you have this shit memorized.
That's probably all he did Sunday. Just memorize.
nine will in my list would probably be the new ventriloquist. I like the ventriloquist from the original Batman, the animated series, and the comics. He was kind of a throwback to the old Batman characters. He's just a
Campy
gangster.
and shit.
Yeah, he's kind of campy, but there's a level of creepy realism to him.
Oh Jesus!
So what they did,
the ventriloquist dummies alone are creepy.
yeah, and he's creepy because he's got that whole introvert outrovert thing going.
Why don't
on.
you explain who the ventriloquist is if anyone doesn't know?
Yeah, like
He's-
me.
He was basically the ventriloquist was a gangster puppet. It's a doll dummy.
It's just the puppet.
Yeah, well, it's the dummy and then the ventriloquist too.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Scarface in
The
this.
Scarface
ventriloquist.
is the dummy. Yeah.
and he talks like Al Capone does. The dummy does, and the ventriloquist himself.
Like, I'm the ventriloquist. See?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how he talks.
Hey, look, there's
and,
Batman. See?
and
Put up
the
your
ventriloquist himself is just like this really quiet, reserved, like borderline pussycat. So it's a cool. It's
And
a
the
great
creepy
character.
comes out in the puppet.
Bingo.
Oh,
And the thing about it
Because
is,
it's the same mind,
Yeah.
but two way different personalities.
Yeah.
it's like his security blanket almost.
Yeah.
the thing about that character though is he's very realistic, but if you put him right next to all the other good Batman villains, he
gets overlooked.
He gets overlooked. He's not a threat. He's like Penguin. You are going to overlook the Penguin because people don't consider him a threat because you got Bane, Killer Croc, and KG Beast and Joker, who's Hitler with a smile.
Well, I wouldn't call him Hitler because I don't think Joker ever tried to make a master race. I think he's just trying to kill every race.
Yeah. But you have the ventriloquist next to that. He's going to get overlooked. And in the series, eventually it was face-to-face. They end up killing off ventriloquist very stupidly. And there's stupid stuff
They just
ventriloquist.
catch his puppet on fire.
He got shot, and then they stepped on the puppet's head.
But there became a new ventriloquist, and this is like, I hate to say it, typical comic, let's sell a whole bunch of paper fashion.
It's fan service.
Yeah, it's fan service. They get a redheaded chick who's usually wearing a dress like Jessica Rabbit's. Now she's the ventriloquist. I don't even get the fucking connection.
Oh, I was going to say, did they connect
Not
her
really.
and him?
No,
I
Like
don't
it's
know.
his daughter?
It's Hush's ex-girlfriend. That's who
Yeah,
it is.
that's who it was.
But that's still not connected to ventriloquist, really. It's just like, hey, we got a woman character we don't use. Let's put this pair of tits in this dress and give it the dummy. It was just like, and usually,
Sounds good. Do it.
You see, I like
with
Lady Death.
DC's editorial team, I believe that's how the conversation went.
I enjoy like books like Lady Death and Danger Girl because it's just tits and ass and
It's
a comic book.
cheesecake.
Yeah, it is. But for me, it was just like, oh, they just said "fuck you, Chris." There you go. Number 8 would be on my list would be Orca because it's basically a heavyset woman like Rhino in an Orca the whale outfit. So
No, that was her skin. So basically, she's Killer Croc,
Only-
but not
Yeah.
nearly as threatening, not nearly as well written. And then actually, Croc ate her body. He found her dead and just started
thank
eating her.
God. Who was 7?
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
What I've read a couple things with Killer Croc in it. What's his deal? I just went with it. I didn't know nothing about him. I'm just like, okay, this guy's
It
a
depends
crocodile.
on if the DC editorial team is taking
I read
the medication. Okay, and Hush, that was weird because they had him mutated. Croc isn't a mutant. He's a human, just with a disease that makes his skin look all scaly and everything.
Yeah, in Hush, he looked like a
Right, yeah,
crocodile.
they mutate him, and they can't make up their mind. Does he have a snout? Does he have a tail? I think the way they did it in the animated series is the best way
Like-
Croc should be.
It's almost like the lizard guy. I forget his name in Spider-Man.
The lizard.
The lizard. Hey, I had it right. I'm going to cut that part out so I don't sound stupid.
I had 8 as Orca.
Yeah.
Who else did I put on that shit list?
That would suck to have that name.
Oh, it's
You're
a shitty
connected
character.
to having you're a whale.
Well-
problem people called her a name of a whale and she got furious about it. I'm going to kill people now.
Well, she was a marine biologist, so I think she worked.
There's
with
always a
orcas.
connection.
There is, you know.
At one point, DC did this run called Bloodlines where they introduced a whole bunch of new characters, and here's some of the shit that they released. They had one called Wild Dog. He was basically the Punisher with a hockey mask and hockey jersey running around Gotham City. Yeah,
so
shit.
it was Casey from
Casey,
Turtles.
had
Yeah.
a bad day.
Yeah, Casey had a really bad, probably life. And then there's another one that will be number 7. Number 6 will be this other character from Bloodlines called Gunfire. Basically, he grabs an object and turns into a gun. That's it. Stupid concept, stupid fucking powers.
Yeah.
And again, with that character, he's really it's trying to bank on something that's popular then. Because again, at the 90s, the really violent comic books with guns everywhere were really
Yeah,
popular.
but they weren't like your realistic guns. They were your Rob Liefeld on
Liefeld fucking
on
sucks.
fucking steroid type guns. So they had like 7 barrels hanging out of them and like
8 scopes on the top.
right, and a Gatling gun, and you had to wear like ammo patches all over.
It's like, how are you going to sneak that thing into the auditorium and assassinate
It's like,
somebody?
how does that thing even work? You know, but the mechanics of it doesn't make any sense.
Did Orca, to go back to her, did she have any powers?
Being a fat whale.
No,
mean,
she had superhuman strength.
She knew how to crush you by
She-
laying on you.
She could swim really fast. What else? You know, just kind of your typical powers that you would associate with an orca. Strength, can swim.
If you got powers, I want them to, like Spider-Man's powers. You know, they were able to explain that. I don't know what the origin is, but like what you see in the movie, and he gets bit by the spider. I can buy that, even though that'll never happen. You'll probably die.
Well, it was a radioactive spider in the comics, so In real life, you probably would die.
I bet what it was is like, okay, we got an issue to kill. Give me a shitty villain.
Well,
Boom.
no. What's even worse about her first appearance is the outfit Batman donned to fight her with, and you're like, they were just trying to market an action figure here because it was Batman in his aquatic armor.
Oh,
it was
you see
black and
all
white.
that shit at the store.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Like,
and then they-
aquatic Batman. When the fuck in the movies was he ever in the water?
When the fuck did he ever wear white?
I got work on that list.
You said
I got
gunfire.
Gunfire.
So now
I
you're
can't
on
buy
5.
that. If you try to
Five.
sell me like, oh, I can grab this bag and it turns into a big fucking gun, I can't buy
It's
that.
stupid.
It takes me right out of it. I'm
Again,
like,
a lot of these
oh, yeah, I'm done.
characters, what they're trying to do is, hey, this stuff's cool. Let's try to make something marketable.
Let's not
But
put
they
any.
date it. They date it like Vibe. This is
Oh,
another one.
Vibe. I hate Vibe.
is like a disco kind of like superhero. Sound waves.
He has sound waves, yeah.
I don't need. He had a fro. Did he?
I don't know if he did, but I mean,
His
he
name
had
was
the disco collar in his first
Yeah.
appearance.
He just sucked. And it was a dated character. You look at that, it's like, oh, this is the fucking 80s. Like Batman, you look at Batman, it's like, well, he
It's
could
timeless.
be from, yeah, this is the fucking 80s. Same with Gunfire. Oh, this is from the really violent comic
Was he
books.
wearing a Nirvana shirt?
the one with the little baby on it.
Right.
Okay, what was it? Number 7 now?
No, I
Or
think he's on number
6?
5. No,
Fi-
was it Vibe 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
4. Superboy Prime, that's, woo.
And
He had-
Superboy
I'll
Prime,
I'll get to that asshole on
He-
my
all-
list.
is
he-
Superboy Prime in Public Enemies?
No.
No.
Okay, because
But-
Superboy is in it though.
I will
In
set
Public
up.
Enemies?
Yeah.
Oh, well-
Batman, Superman, Public Enemy.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. No,
Oh,
that's
that
not
was fucking
Super.
loud.
Oh, sorry.
No, this is turned up too loud.
No, Superboy Prime is an entirely different asshole, and
I'll set him up. I'll say this. He uttered a line, I'll kill you all kinds of dead.
no, that's not even the line.
What was it?
I'll get to that in my list.
Okay, he sucks. Number 3 would be Superman from At World's End. Like my list, I was like thinking about characters that they're really trying to run with and have their own franchise. Because in comic books, there's a long list of shitty characters. Superman at World's End is a really piece of shit story.
It really
It
is.
is. At one point, they're trying to make an anti-gun statement, but you can't make an anti-gun statement when your superhero, who is Superman, who's known for never using a gun, kills all the bad guys with the biggest gun, a gun that makes Rob Liefeld and Cable's guns looks fucking small.
Oh
No,
my god.
a gun that gives Rob Liefeld wood.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm putting that in my next book.
Number 2 on my list is Frankencastle because I'm a big Punisher fan, and that fucking sucked.
Frankencastle.
Okay, you
Oh,
gotta
is that
explain.
exactly what it sounds
That was
like?
It's exactly
Exactly.
what it sounds like.
Go
Basically-
into it.
Isn't his name Frank Castle?
Yeah.
Yes.
So they just put it in. What's
Because
his middle
zombies
name?
are
Nick?
popular now. Again, this is one of those
No,
things.
it
like,
wasn't even zombies. It was just, they ripped off Frankenstein.
whatever.
Frankencastle.
It's something stupid that shouldn't have been done. And they turn him into a
Well,
Frankenstein.
how did he get turned into Frankenstein
he
first?
fucking fought Dakin.
Who's
Dakin-
coming up on his list?
Okay, I'm pretty sure everyone now, just by the tone of my voice, number 1 is fucking Dakin. I fucking hate
I don't know
Dakin.
who Dakin is.
Dakin's
Explain that as
Wolverine's
well.
shithead son. Let me tell you how much he sucks. His 15-year-old sister's cooler than he is. That's how much he sucks. He looks like we're looking at comics, and me and my fiance, and a picture of Dakin comes up. She's like, he doesn't look that bad. I'm like, he fucking sucks.
What
He's
is
like-
it about him you hate the most?
I first hate the fact that he's the one that took out Punisher. Second, he looks like.
Wolverine's, 15-year-old kid?
No, he's not 15. He's probably about as old as I am. He looks like he got kicked out of Nine Inch Nails, meets another goth band, meets Wolverine. And the worst,
Meets Hot Topic.
yeah, I mean, he's the worst kind of image / fan, Hot Topic fan fucking service I've ever read. And the story he more so debuted in, it was a story where Cyber's using. It's an old Wolverine enemy, Dakin against Wolverine, something along those lines. He's decent in that. The rest of his whole fucking career has been shit. He sucks.
I didn't know
how
Wolverine
does-
had a kid.
Oh, he has many kids.
Who? Oh, okay. Who's the mother of Dakin?
She died.
Oh, if Dakin was my son, I'd fucking hang myself.
Apparently, Wolverine She died while pregnant with Dakin. Wolverine thought they were both dead, and he left Japan.
So does he have the regeneration? Like
Yeah, he
Wolverine?
has the healing factor, and he has his claws. He has
so sad that he does.
He has 2 claws come out like Wolverine does, but the third claw comes under his wrist.
Yeah, under his wrist. His sister.
That sounds kind of
X23
neat, though.
It's just he sucks.
Did he
fucking
get the
sucks.
adamantium? Like
No,
No,
it's
he's got
bone
bone
claws.
claws.
But
Yeah,
how,
he somehow can take down Punisher.
how
and
does
Wolverine
how does Dakin have tattoos? Because you would think the healing factor,
Yeah.
the minute you
Look,
got him,
would reject the ink.
You're
Right.
using logic for a shitty character that was created only to sell merchandise.
well,
at
actually, you're
fucking
using
Hot
logic
Topic.
for comic books, so
But there is a logic with comics. Like, when you really think good characters, no matter how out there their powers are, there is a logic to it.
if you can sell me on the logic of their power, I'll buy it all day long.
Well, I mean, when you suspend your belief,
That's what I
long
think. I
enough
told
to-
you. I really like origin stories.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if you could sell
Well-
me why that person is that way, I'm in.
So, how did Dakin take out the Punisher, Chris?
Oh, he beat him. There's just certain things in my youth I don't like to recall. That's one of them. It's kind of like when you see your father get knocked out by someone, or you go to you go to confessional and get molested by a priest. It's kind of like one of those things you try to pluck out of your.
So you're comparing reading that fight with Dakin to Catholic molestation.
Of course.
Well, I can't quite agree to that. But,
It's horrible. I mean,
oh no, I agree. He's a miserable character, and what kills me is the first appearance he was in. To make him look like a badass, they threw Deadpool to him, and they just let him walk all over Deadpool.
Oh my God, Jesus!
he's a shitty character.
But he kills. What happened is Marvel did this.
They're
thing.
trying to make him badass, so people are like, "Ooh, I like this guy.
Right.
He could beat
Yeah,
Deadpool."
he looks like, I hate to say it, he looks like some fucking goth kid from Hot Topic or something like that. He looks like he belongs.
well, when he's
in-
not fighting enemies, he's working the cash register at Hot Topic.
yeah, I mean, he doesn't look tough or intimidating or anything like that. He just
little
looks,
wimpy,
Yeah.
skinny kid.
He's in some sort of shape, but it's just like every time I see the guy, I go like, "Oh, look, a member of the Cure has Wolverine claws. Good for you."
Well, there's that, and then like the whole Dakin killing the Punisher is Marvel put Norman Osborn in charge of Shield because that's what you want. That's what you want.
Someone that fucked up and had a head of government.
They thought he was controlled. Well, he put together the Dark Avengers, and he had villains posing as heroes. So he had Scorpion / Venom as Spider-Man, and he had Bullseye as Hawkeye, and he had Dakin as Wolverine.
So did he disguise these people?
yeah, he
Oh,
had
okay.
them wear like versions
Venom
of
wore
their,
the red shit.
No, Venom, pure black.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
Spider-Man had the pure black, and Dakin wore Wolverine's gold and brown outfit
Oh, okay.
from the 80s. And Norman had this list of things he wanted to get done and people he wanted to kill. And Punisher was on the list to be killed, so he sends Dakin in. And, he ends up just cutting Punisher to pieces at the end of the book. I mean, Punisher blew him away, but, he's healing.
Right.
And so
Punisher-
Dakin,
Punisher's not.
chopping off his arms, his legs, and his head.
Did it Punisher at least go out like a champ?
Yeah, I mean, he fought till he couldn't fight anymore.
Oh, okay.
But then what happened is Morbius found his body parts and reassembled them as Frankencastle.
Oh my God.
And you have...
I don't even want to read that.
No, you don't. It's horrible. but-
Want me to tell you
This guy's selling me on Punisher. I want to go read some Punisher.
That's not Punisher you
Garth
wanna
Ennis
read.
run.
Yeah.
I don't think
If
you'll
that's
find
my first read, I'm never picking up another Punisher book.
I was watching a review for Frankencastle on YouTube, and this guy just sits there. He's trying to make an in-depth review. He's like, if you really like Punisher, man, just don't read this. Don't read this.
You're right. The team up they had with Punisher and Eminem is probably better than the whole Frankencastle.
Eminem the rapper?
Yes. Marvel
somebody Punisher
sold
would
out
shoot.
that way and did a crossover.
Somebody Punisher would shoot. Somebody Punisher probably put a helipoint in his head. Boom, you're gone. He would probably shoot him. And at one point, Eminem's going ballistic on somebody, and Punisher tells him to cool off. It's like, I do see Eminem as kind of like that white guy that hung out with all the gangbangers. He's the one that you probably should watch out for because he's the white guy hanging out with the rest of the gangbangers.
He had
the
to
crazy
earn
His
street
entourage
cred.
behind
Yeah.
him looks like linebackers.
Yeah, but I still don't see him nearly as threatening as somebody who's
That's-
killed about 1,000 people.
That sounds like it's. I mean, that'd be hard to sell somebody on the Punisher with. It sounds like they've put out a bunch of shit.
They
Well,
did, and it's
Marvel
all
likes to do
because-
those crossovers. As you remember, the last time I was talking to you, that Spider-Man with Captain Crunch
Right.
is the first comic I ever read as a kid.
Yeah.
And then Adventures of the Kool-Aid Man, and it just goes on and on
The
and on.
title of the episode.
Yes.
Well, here's the thing with a lot of that. It's trying to sell a character that you can maybe put him in the Spider-Man animated series here and there. He's an adult character. You're not going... And Archie, when they put Punisher with Archie...
Okay, but they acknowledged that was a joke. They did it as a joke, and I didn't get offended by that because you could just see the joke that they're making in it.
Yeah, it's still not nearly as bad as Frankencastle or Punisher in space. They put him in fucking space!
Someone had to go kill Jason.
I mean, it sounds like they can really make Punisher a bad motherfucker, but they're just
They-
camping him up and put him with Archie. And
No, one of the worst Punisher arcs, and probably the most offensive Punisher arcs, is for like an issue or two. He took some pill that turned him into a black man, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, I thought comics learned their lesson with you don't switch races like that. It's offensive. They did it in the '70s with Lois Lane. They did a Lois Lane comic where Superman invented a machine that turned Lois black. That was the sole purpose of that machine. And
why?
exactly. And
You know what it was? They wanted to tell some race jokes, and they couldn't do it with all white people.
I don't know, but it's like you don't do that. And I thought they
Here's-
learned it
here's-
then, and then they had the Punisher, and I'm just like, this doesn't serve a purpose.
Here's what a part of it is. Besides writers, there's the members of the board and all those other assholes that sit there and demographic hunt for what's going to be big and what's going to sell. So you have a writer, he's got a script, his story, okay, this is what I want to do. Asshole executive comes in, hey, you need to put some Paris Hilton in it. You need to put Eminem in that shit. We'll sell a whole bunch of copies of it. Well, this is not going to work. I brought Barracuda back. Put Eminem in it. I don't want to do that. Put Eminem in it. Because he did an interview where he's got a Punisher tattoo because Eminem's got a big Punisher tattoo on his chest.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah,
That sounds awesome.
yeah, it's actually pretty cool, but still doesn't make me want to see him in one of my favorite fucking comics.
No.
But that's they do shit to try to branch out to people who aren't going to buy the fucking book to begin with. You know, I'm not saying people in the hip hop community don't read comics. A lot do.
Yeah.
But they are already reading. Why the fuck do you need to put Eminem in there? They probably thought it was fucking stupid too. Hey, what's he doing in here?
I don't understand why they would ruin such a promising character. I mean, they just mayhem. He can just cause all kinds of mayhem. You
There's
don't
a
need to put
lot of-
Eminem. You don't need to make him Frankenstein.
There's a lot of comic books. A lot of this is like I used to be a big Marvel guy, like more in the '90s and stuff. And then after they started doing shit like this, like of course, what is it? What's the new Spider-Man run with
Superior Spider-Man.
Superior Spider-Man, Doctor Octopus is Spider-Man. Do I need to go into that?
There's Frankencastle.
Oh my god,
Fucking horrible.
that's ridiculous.
It's fucking horrible. It's
Look
fucking,
at it, Chris. Look at it.
Is he?
Look at
Is
it.
he Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fucking horrible. And like I think Marvel, what ended up
I've seen
happening-
I've seen a scarier design on the Munsters.
what I think ended up happening with Marvel when they started releasing ridiculous shit like that is they started making their movies and their panties start getting wet. Yay, we can sell a bunch of shit. So let's get people in here to tell us how to do our fucking job. Hey, if we have a Frankenstein or something like that, zombies or something popular, throw him in there. Make Punisher Frankencastle. Hey, good idea. It's shit.
And there's Dakin.
Doesn't he look like a cocksucker?
He kind of does look like a punk.
Yeah, he just sucks. He
I don't think the. Excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the executives really get involved in the writing anymore. Do they?
I know editors do.
Well,
But again, they demographic hunt. The biggest problem with entertainment today is they don't let the piece of art, being music, being a film, being a comic book, stand as it is, and they try to put too much shit.
Just the way he's sitting, he's just like.
I
yeah.
just think Dakin is as shitty, and this is what I get into with some of the characters on my list. The potential's good. Like Wolverine's son that wants to kill him. It's good. The execution.
Wolverine's
of it.
son wants to kill Wolverine.
Yeah, that's Dakin's whole thing. He wants to kill Wolverine.
Oh wow.
And so it sounds good. Someone, maybe to fill that void that Sabretooth left, because at that time Sabretooth was dead. But it's the execution of it. And plus, if you read Dakin's speech, he just bitches and whines a lot.
You can just pretty much all of his voice bubbles put in. Daddy left me.
Hey everybody, this is Mike. I hate to interrupt this fine episode of From the Monkey Basement, but I wanted to tell you about a great new website for little independent podcasts just like this one. It's called podcastland.com. Podcastland helps promote by letting you go vote for your favorite show. It's simple. Just log on to podcastland.com and search for From the Monkey Basement. Click on it, put your email address in the little box, then click vote. Now I know what you're thinking.
Oh, fuck that shit. I don't want any spam mail.
I promise you that won't happen. Podcastland.com is a spam-free site. So after you put in your vote for From the Monkey Basement, there's just one more step. Just go to your email and confirm your vote. Now you can vote as many times as you want with different emails, but only one vote per email. While you're there, go support the other shows on the NSF Radio Network. Great shows like iLED, Pazcast, Royal We, Foulcast, Low Aims, and Unadulterated BS, and the very first Podcast Land podcast of the month, Off the Subject. So go vote, listen to some great podcasts, and enjoy. Now back to the show. Thank you. All right, let's go with your list now, Adam.
All right. I didn't know how we were going to do this, so I made a list, but I had some honorable mentions because I struggled with who to put on this list because I'm like, I can just keep going. So some honorable mentions real quick. Cannonball from the X-Men and X-Force. I hated that character. I didn't think he had that much of a personality, and I thought his powers sucked. He could just fly and like shoot himself off like a cannonball, and he was kind of impervious, but not really. I just thought he sucked. Another one was Supreme. Image Comics did a Superman knockoff called Supreme. Now, when Alan Moore got a hold of it and turned it into a tribute to the Silver Age Superman, that's when it got good. But before then, when it was just Liefeld writing it,
Liefeld fucking sucks.
for some reason, Supreme spoke in the third person. I never understood that. Triathlon from the Avengers. I hated Triathlon. He's now called the 3D man, and I haven't checked any of that stuff out. But at the time, Triathlon, his powers were, he was kind of strong, just athletic, basically. He was like 3 times more athletic than a normal person. And I'm like, on the Avengers, you have Captain America, Black Panther, Hawkeye, Black Widow. Who else do you need?
None of them have powers.
Right. And they're better than he was. And they're like, well, he can run real fast, too. I'm like, well, you have Quicksilver for that.
Here's the thing about Triathlon. When none of them guys can do the job, that's who you get. Oh, fuck, Triathlon's come to save the day? Fuck!
They're all the other guys are off world.
Yeah, they're off the planet. You're stuck with him.
You'll like this one. Another honorable mention I have, Shatterstar.
Oh, yeah, Shatterstar.
What the fuck is that?
Shatterstar.
Somebody come up with that?
Yeah,
Liefeld.
Rob
Good idea.
Liefeld. Rob Liefeld. You can trace a lot of bad ideas to Rob Liefeld and Frank Miller. Rob Liefeld was, writing X-Force at the time, and every team needed its own version of Wolverine, and I guess that's what Shatterstar was supposed to
So
be.
Shatterstar is a DC character then?
No, he's a Marvel character.
Marvel character.
He's got 2 double swords.
He's got 2 double swords. Swords like double blades on each side. And he
Do they come out of his hands?
No, he just holds them.
Okay.
He just holds them.
He has a ponytail that starts at the top of his skull.
And he
goes
has
down.
a face that constantly looks like it's taking a shit.
You can't see his eyes.
Almost sounds like Deadpool.
Liefeld created Deadpool, but better writers made Deadpool a likable character.
Liefeld sucks.
And plus Shatterstar, he had that puffy shirt. And then here's what's weird. In the comics, better writers took over, and they revealed that Shatterstar is bisexual, and Liefeld actually had an issue with that. And I'm like, anything to give this character more dimension.
When you have
is
a
good.
character that looks like that, you shouldn't have an issue. It looks like that. I mean, that sounds like something he would be. It's kind of like because fucking Dakin, I guess, experimented in bisexuality or something along those lines.
Yeah,
Why
I
am
think
I
I heard
not
about
surprised by that picture he showed me?
Bingo. And like there are gay characters in the Authority, Midnighter, and Apollo. Gay characters.
Didn't they just come out with a gay character? I thought it was a lantern.
Well, DC did Earth 2. What happened was, well, New 52 sucks, so you're going to hear me yell that a lot. The New 52 sucks.
I heard the New 52 Batman run is good.
Okay, I'll give it that, although I will say...
the Snyder and Capullo.
I will say one thing that made me want to throw Court of Owls out the window was spoilers here, the mastermind behind everything might be Bruce Wayne's long-lost brother. That almost made me throw the book out the window. Everything
Bruce
else...
Wayne didn't have a brother.
Right. They're trying to say, well, when they rebooted the universe, I guess when Bruce was 3, his mom was pregnant. The Court of Owls put a warning out on the Waynes. They didn't like the Wayne family and the stuff they were trying to accomplish. There was a car accident. Supposedly it killed the baby, but this character is hinting that he was really alive and no one ever told Bruce. I'm like, no. Okay, there are certain things I can deal with comics and certain things I can't. Batman doesn't have a long lost brother. Superman doesn't have a long lost brother. They haven't done that yet, but give them time because
Is Power Girl from Krypton too?
Power Girl's from
but
huge
see,
tit.
Power Girl has a weird origin.
But I thought Power Girl was related to Kent.
She
Clark.
is kind of. DC used to have Earth 1 and Earth 2. And like Earth 2.
Oh, you lost me already.
Yeah, I know. It's convoluted. She's his cousin, but not that Superman's cousin. An alternate Superman's
So
cousin.
he could beat Cheeks if he wanted to.
No, he still can't. Chris, you're going to hell. And my last honorable mention is Strong Guy from X Factor.
That just sounds like a throwaway. Strong guy.
Well,
Good.
They kind of his name was a joke because he's like, I'm just the strong guy in the group. So Strong Guy. He's just overly muscled, Rob Liefeld nightmare, even though Liefeld never drew him.
Yeah.
He just has that really weird physique, and he absorbs. Like, if you hit him, he absorbs the strength from the hit, then he expels it with super strength. His body's all jacked up because if he doesn't expel it within a certain period of time, it mutates his body. I just thought he was a lame character. I mean, every team does have the strong guy on it, but he was the lamest of the strong men.
I think the best strong guy from any team would probably be Colossus from X-Men.
No.
I mean, like, just strong guy. I'm not talking about leaders.
No, number one, Colossus is my favorite X-Men, but he's on my list of characters that companies have dropped the ball with.
Yeah, they did drop the ball with Colossus.
Okay.
There's a bunch of characters they dropped the ball with.
All right, so I'm going to go into my top 10. Number 10, Damian Wayne.
He sucks.
I haven't read anything with him, but
Okay.
he's the son of
He will
Bruce.
make you become a pro-choicer.
he's the son of
No, you mean pro-choice. You're right. I got
I'm
it.
already pro-choice.
Yeah, so am I. So maybe the people who are extreme, they'll be like, yeah, he needed because
What's the fucking Ra's al Ghul's daughter?
Talia.
Talia. That's
Yeah, she's on another list of mine.
but she's the
mom.
mother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was raised in the League of Assassins, and that's why I put him so low on the list. Is because he's a 10-year-old, so I give him a pass because he's young.
But he died in this.
He did die recently, and
Was
they
he
didn't
10 years old?
Yeah.
Oh, you should see.
What the
some of
fuck?
Suicide
Why has
Squad.
Batman got his 10-year-old son going out and fighting crime?
That's a very
The
good
kid wants to
question.
go sit and play with fucking
No,
Legos,
actually,
man.
Damien doesn't act like a kid. That's one of the weird things when they wrote him. He doesn't act or speak like a kid. I guess because he's been raised as an assassin, he talks like he's 23.
Wow, you're so specific.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just got that. I'm like, this is how someone who returning from their first tour in the army would sound.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But he acts spoiled. He's unlikable. Just you read him. He keeps trying to kill Tim Drake, and I'm like, why hasn't Batman or Dick Grayson, or whoever's wearing the cowl at the time, have him locked up?
So who was wearing the cowl with Damien?
Dick Grayson was for a while, and then
Where was
Bruce was supposedly dead. Darkseid supposedly killed Batman.
Okay, I got to get into that stuff. I haven't read that.
But yeah, number 9. This is more of a team than a character. It's the Jury. You don't remember the Jury?
From.
Venom.
Oh yeah, that sucked.
Okay, no, their initial appearance was great. Jury was a team of characters. Venom in his second storyline killed a guard out of prison to get out of there, and the guy he killed, he had a rich dad who was heartbroken that his son died, and he formed a team of guys that his son knew who worked with him to hunt down Venom and make him pay. They had Iron Man type suits. Initially, it was a good idea. But the problem was, as they kept doing different jury stories, they kept failing at everything they did. And only one of them had a distinct personality. A guy called Sentry, who had spikes on his shoulders for some reason.
He's just a biker.
I don't know, but he was the more aggressive of them. But they all read the same. Like, if you just saw word balloons, you're like, this could be anyone.
Yeah.
Oh, this one guy has a southern accent, so that must be, but I mean, really, they were interchangeable.
How do you know you're reading it? How do you know they have a southern accent when you're reading
Well,
it?
like,
Does it say
the-
in
the-
southern drawl?
well, yeah, they'll say,
Y'all.
yeah, they'll be very stereotypical with it. Instead of
It's
I, it's ah.
it's kind of like
It's like, I say, son, I say.
it's kind of like reading Captain Boomerang.
So it's like
got a
Old
very
South.
Right.
He's got a very Australian accent, and they write him in there saying "mate" and stuff like
Good
that.
day.
Good day. Oi.
But yeah, the jury, strong start, but they just crashed and burned.
Great idea.
Great idea. A lot of these I thought were good. Keep your eyes on your own paper. A lot of these I thought were ideas that could have worked, but didn't. Number 8, Jason Macendale, the second Hobgoblin in the Spider-Man comics. Hobgoblin was created in the 80s to fill a void that was left when the Green Goblin died. And they wrote Hobgoblin the opposite of Green Goblin. Norman Osborn was a very passionate villain. That's why I loved him, because he obsessed about whatever he was against and just thought of every way to hurt them and took pleasure in it. Hobgoblin was all about business, and he was emotionless about it. He was a master manipulator, but he had no emotion about it.
He was on a mission. He went for that mission.
Right. And Marvel said he was one guy and then killed him off. So then this other guy, Jason Macendale, took over. And Macendale sucked because, like the jury, he failed at everything he did. And he whined about it constantly. And I'm like, he's supposed to be a mercenary, and he's whining like a 14-year-old girl.
Isn't that the guy with the metal eye?
Well, they
The
eventually
Hobgoblin.
gave him Metal Eye
Yeah.
for some fucked up reason. They ended up having the original Hobgoblin kill him, and no one cared. They're
Yeah,
like, the original.
pretty
They were
much.
more happy that the original Hobgoblin's back.
Did Harry, his kid, ever get into the suit?
He became the second Green Goblin.
Because they made, like in the movies, they hinted in the first one, was it?
Yeah, I mean,
no,
he-
in the second one, they hinted that he would be the villain in the third one.
Right.
When he found his dad's stash of the pumpkin bombs or whatever you call them. And
Yeah, well, Harry became the second Green Goblin in the comics, but Harry was a pathetic goblin. He had daddy issues, and then they couldn't decide in the comics how strong he was. Oh, he's as strong as Norman. No, he's twice as strong as Norman. Well, he's almost as strong as Spider. It's like, make up your mind. Then they kill him off, and no one was sad. But okay, so yeah, Jason Macendale at number 8. Just a failure. Number 7, Guy Gardner. And I gotta be specific about this, because I don't mean the whole character of Guy Gardner, but just the way he was written in about 1992. Guy Gardner.
Just very specific
It
time
has to
frame.
be very specific about this, because Guy Gardner was a Green Lantern. He was
okay.
one of Hal Jordan's successors. And he was kind of he was a guy that you'd throw on the Justice League to create friction, because you can't have all your characters just being best friends. You
Yeah.
have to have the one guy that creates trouble.
Right.
That was Guy. In fact, him and Batman got into it a lot. Batman knocked him out one punch. Guy challenged him to a fight. He's like, look, I'll take off my ring. Come on. Then Batman instantly turns around and blasts someone, and Guy's knocked out. But he's a fun character, even now. Ever since they did Green Lantern Rebirth and Jeff Johns wrote him, I like Guy Gardner. But in 1992, he lost his Green Lantern ring. He was kicked out of the Corps. So he found Sinestro's yellow ring. He put together a costume that you could probably only wear in the early 90s. It was a leather jacket with a G on it and blue jeans. He had white gloves on and cowboy boots that had G's on them
With the yellow ring on?
with the yellow ring on.
Okay, well, maybe in the book is different in the movie, how, like, when Sinestro put the yellow ring on?
Right.
It
It gave him this is way before they thought of the Sinestro Corps.
Okay.
Hence Sinestro's black and purple outfit from back in the day.
Yeah.
But Guy, when he became that Guy Gardner, he wasn't just someone to create friction. He was just insufferable to read. He was almost a stalker when it came to the Justice League member Ice. He was misogynistic. He was annoying. He was probably more hateful than Rush Limbaugh, you know. It was just like, when Doomsday's beating the shit out of him, you're like, maybe we'll get lucky and he'll kill him. But, I mean, you know, he was good friends with Lobo, who I almost added on the list.
I like Lobo.
But I decided Lobo was more satire than anything. I didn't want to throw satirical characters on there.
Yeah,
so.
that's also why I didn't throw a character like the dog welding man from the Hitman series
Right.
on there, or
Hitman?
Yeah, it was a series
Like
that
the game.
No, it was a series that was created out of Bloodlines. Garth Ennis was asked to create a new character. It was this hitman who somehow got the ability to read people's thoughts and see through walls.
So yeah, Guy Gardner back in '92. He had his own comic book series, you know, just Guy Gardner. Then later on, they changed it again to Guy Gardner Warrior. Which is, if that name didn't work out so well for Jim Hellwig, it's not going to work out well for Guy Gardner. But yeah, back then they just practiced, like my reason for putting Guy on here, they just practiced dick-headed writing.
Dick-headed writing.
Number 6, Judas Traveler.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? Yeah, there's a reason you don't remember Judas Traveler. When Marvel was doing Spider-Man's Clone Saga,
Because you shouldn't.
you really shouldn't. They did Spider-Man's Clone Saga, and basically they had Spider-Man's clone from the 70s. When they cloned him, you know, they had the same memories and everything. They wanted to mix it up. Like, you don't know who's really the clone, Peter or this other guy, Ben Reilly, because they both have the same memories. Judas Traveler, as complicated as the story already was, Marvel threw this character in there, this villain, who had unspecified powers and no specified reason for wanting to hate Spider-Man. And he was supposed to be a psychologist at Ravencroft, which was Marvel's version of Arkham. Now, would you trust a therapist named Judas Traveler?
No.
Right. And he even looked sinister. I mean, he looked like he was on acid, basically.
Just the name Judas.
Right. He had long gray hair, a long gray beard, some technicolored fucking coat, some kind of like almost pirate-like outfit underneath, and you're here to make other people sane? Fuck you! But what was weird is he kept trying to be mysterious and like, oh, I hate Spider-Man. The reason given? Blank. You know? And they never specified his power. Supposedly he was supposed to be this ultimate powerful villain, you know? He had power to erase people's minds and see, you know, everything. And it turned out that he was just a mutant that had the ability to warp people's perceptions. So he wasn't even as powerful as they made him out to be. 2 years after he was introduced, they finally said, oh, here's what his real powers are.
Wow, that's really shit.
He added nothing to the comics, and it's just... let me specify. The Clone Saga was painful enough because it was supposed to go 3 months and it went 2 years. And Judas Traveler made it even harder to get through. So yeah, Judas Traveler, the reason being, just what the fuck was the point? Number 5, Madcap.
No fucking clue.
Only in the 80s could you have this character. Just like I said, the guy who was supposed to join us, he told me one of the members on his list was the character Speedball. I said, only in the 80s could you have a character named Speedball.
Yeah.
And Madcap, only in the 80s because you design a character like this. It's like Marvel wanted to do a version of the Joker. And because Madcap's thing was he would spread chaos.
That's
But
what the Joker does.
He dressed like, I'll pull up a picture of him. He dressed like a reject out of, I don't know, Carnival. He had his outfit was split in half. It was yellow on one side, purple stripes on the other, and they mismatched like diagonally or whatever. And his weapon of choice, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a bubble gun.
A bubble gun.
A bubble gun. A little handgun that shot bubbles. And supposedly if the bubble hit you, you went insane. And because Madcap, they tried to get...
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really shitty.
That is really shitty. Not to mention, let's see if I can pull him up here. A good picture of Matt. There we are. This dickhead.
What the fuck? Somebody wrote that.
Yeah, someone got paid to write that.
Somebody was like, "Ooh, this looks like a good idea." He looks like
He's dead now, right? I just wanted to...
No, he's not.
Whoa.
He almost looks like a deranged musketeer.
Who dropped the ball in killing that guy?
Marvel.
I mean,
Dakin?
if there's any character out there that should be signed up for a fucking visit with the Angel of Death, he's one of them.
They still have that guy in
He's
books.
still around.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, the one time I think they actually wrote him right in the 90s, it was in the Ghost Rider comics. And Ghost Rider had a great writer. I think it was Howard Mackey. He turned the Scarecrow into a scary character.
I thought that was Warren Ellis.
No, it was Howard Mackey, I believe.
With the Batman Scarecrow?
No, Marvel had their own Scarecrow that appeared, I think, in a Captain America book. He was just a guy dressed as a scarecrow, carried a pitchfork, and had trained crows. He was just a stock character. He's the villain of the week for Captain America to punch out. In Ghost Rider, they got into his psyche and they made him, creepy. He was a contortionist, so he could like contort his body in weird ways, and he killed people and then stuffed their bodies with straw.
Oh my God.
So Ghost Rider had a good writer, and they did a good story with Madcap. I don't have it. I need to track it down, but basically the gist of it is in the big subway system they have, or one of the stations they have, Madcap went in there and convinced every innocent bystander in there to start killing each other. The only time they've ever written Madcap right, and they haven't wrote him right since. So yeah, Madcap, lame character, and Bubble Gun.
Written really big on your list.
Written real big. Number 4. I might get some shit for this one. Namor, the Submariner.
Namor wasn't that bad.
I hate that prick.
What, Submariner?
Yeah. He's one of the oldest characters Marvel has.
I've got a picture on my wall of one of those wood pictures that have like comic book covers on them.
Uh-huh.
And one of them is the Submariner fighting Iron Man. This guy is wearing a Speedo. How is he going to kill Iron Man? And I think there's a bubble there that says something about this time you're dead, Iron Man.
Right. Well, Namor, okay, powers, he's really strong, can survive underwater because he's king of Atlantis. And he has wings on his feet. Little wings on his feet.
On his little boots?
No, on his bare feet.
He is. I mean, he is one of the characters from Marvel before they became Marvel when they were timely.
Yeah,
he's one of their oldest characters,
and that might have worked in the
wow.
40s. But when you think about the mechanics of the wings on his
Yeah.
ankles, wouldn't that make him fly upside down like he'd flip? Well,
I mean, unless he's got really damn good balance and he can keep himself.
right. I mean, he's strong enough to go toe to toe with the Thing from Fantastic Four. But the reason I put Namor on there is in the 80 years he's been around, he's in the same mood he was back then. And back in his first appearance, he was a teenager. And they're still writing him like an overgrown teenager, and he's like 30-something. He has an unlikable personality. His only 2 emotions are, I'm mad at the surface world, and now I'm brooding because I love Sue Richards. That's really it. Any Namor thing you pick up, it's interchangeable. And that's one reason I hate him. And how many times can you do Atlantis attacks? I'm going to raise my army to fight against the surface world because they've insulted me somehow. Okay, well, the surface world has the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and your army
weapons.
hasn't won yet. They throw a Hulk at you. How are you going to win? So yeah, Namor, and he's had no character growth at all. He's the same dickhead he was back in the 40s with no real insight to his psychology. So yeah, Namor. I hate him. He has had different costumes, so he's not sporting the green.
Oh, he's not
anymore.
Sporting just the Speedo anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, number 3, Gladiator.
Gladiator sucks.
Russell Crowe?
The guy
he could be interchangeable with that dickhead also. But no, he's from the X-Men books. He's basically, Marvel wanted to do a version of Superman and created Gladiator. He's from the Shi'ar Empire. He's got pink skin and a mohawk and Spock ears. He's got all the powers of Superman. Super strength, super speed,
With
heat
Spock
vision.
ears.
What?
With Spock ears.
Yeah, pointed ears, But again, Gladiator, he just practiced dickheaded writing with this guy. He's got almost next to no personality, and what personality he does have is unpleasant. And he's like, I am honor bound to the Shi'ar Empire. So, okay, Empress Lilandra, you like her. She's a good girl. She's, she created peace in the Empire, and you have served, you serve her, and you're sworn to her. Now, Dickon is now the Emperor, and he's killing mass quantities of people even. And Gladiator's like, I am honor bound nonetheless. It's like, fuck you! You know right and wrong. And another thing I hate about Gladiator is his weakness. It is the lamest weakness out there. And I know people bitch about Superman being weak to kryptonite, okay? But you know how you make Gladiator weak?
Water.
it's worse than that.
Good writing.
No, that would make him strong.
Good writing buries him.
It's you affect his confidence.
What?
And
What the fuck?
It's like Jordan. It's like Marty McFly. Somebody calling him a chicken.
right, if you can affect Gladiator's confidence, his power level decreases.
Wow.
So okay, fine. You don't send in the X-Men.
Wow.
You send in Spider-Man and Deadpool with a big book of your mama jokes.
Or you just said a Nelson from The Simpsons.
Right. You know,
Is that the punk kid?
yeah. And so
And have the little dorky kid behind him every time going, nah.
right. Right. So yeah, you're going to hurt my feelings and it's going to make me weak. Hell, that just makes Hulk stronger.
Yeah.
So why hasn't Hulk killed this bastard yet? So yeah, Gladiator's my number 3 on there. Dick-headed writing, lame weakness. Number 2. Man, I have a lot of X-Men characters on here.
There's a lot of people's list that's going to be full of X-Men characters. There
Yeah.
was a lot that sucked.
Okay, number 2. Maggot.
I've seen him.
Maggot.
Maggot.
He was in X-Force?
No, he was an X-Men.
He was in
He was
X-Men?
he was an X-Men.
What the hell
Well, he just
is
sucks.
Maggot's
He-
power?
He basically looks like a shitty version of Strong Guy.
No. He has the same haircut.
Yeah.
And the same glasses. But let me pull him up here while I go off.
You're not going off.
Well, I hate this guy. Okay. He has 2 forms. Here's his powered up form.
Looks like Mega Man. Like evil Mega Man.
Okay, Maggot. His mutant power is he doesn't have a stomach. He's got these 2 maggot-like creatures named Eenie and Meanie. They're his stomach. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Good thing he wasn't part cow, because he'd have to have 4 of them, and you'd have Eenie, Meenie, Miny, Mo. But basically what they could eat, and then like from them eating, that would make him strong. They could go into him and turn his skin blue, and he'd be a little bit stronger and everything. But when you have a team that has Rogue and Colossus on it, Rogue and Colossus, Beast even, why on earth do you need that guy? And I know they tried to make him a sympathetic character, and I didn't find him to be sympathetic.
He wasn't a villain then.
No, he was an X-Men.
In that picture, he looks like a villain.
In that picture, he looks like another rejected sketch out of Rob Liefeld's art book. And then they kill him off. And usually, no, hear me out on this. Because usually when a character you don't like dies, you're like, all right. But how did they kill him off? Well, it's off panel, number 1. But I wouldn't even want to see it in this one. It's in a mutant concentration camp. They went there. Marvel went there,
Wow.
created a mutant concentration camp with actual gas chambers, and sent Maggot in. So not only is this a character I don't like, but when I read his death, I'm like, this is even worse.
I didn't hate him that much.
I didn't hate him that much for them to go Nazi on him. And I know
Jesus.
X-Men are supposed to represent, minorities and anyone that's been discriminated against, and they could make that connection between mutants and the Jews back in the 40s and early 30s. But I don't know. I think like mutant concentration camp, and you want to just show all that, kind of jumps the shark a little.
Yeah.
I like, be a little more intelligent about it, guys.
Yeah.
At least they didn't show him die,
Yeah.
but they implied it. But yeah, Maggot, lame powers, lame design. If you look at the picture of him,
Yeah.
he's got I don't know if they try to give him a devil lock or what, but it's like I kind of compare it to like how Hootie and the Blowfish might have dressed back in like 1997 if they were around. I don't know if they were. And my number one character that I hate more than
You know
life
what this is, don't you?
itself
Oh, yeah, I know.
is Superboy Prime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were talking about
Oh, I hate this prick. And if you look at my reason, everything.
Wait, has he died yet?
Well, in a sense, because now that the new 52 happened, he just never existed to begin with. But
No, I mean, I want to see him violently killed.
no, the only way they had him even kind of written out is Superboy, the regular Superboy, and Wonder Girl flew him to the Source Wall, which is, if you read any of the DC books that deal with outer space, the Source Wall is like at the edge of the galaxy, and they merged him with the Source Wall. It wasn't a death, but I'm like, at the time, I didn't know Flashpoint was going to change everything. I was like, well, I won't be hearing from him for a while, so that's good. But Superboy Prime, an excellent idea, and they fucked it all up.
Yeah.
He is a unstable teenager with the powers of Superman. So you're like, this can be good. This can be great, even. Except they had him talk. And much like many characters on both of our lists, he speaks in just whining and bitching. And he's not even clever about it. I have the Sinestro Corps book over there, where and he was a member of the Sinestro Corps. And
He was a lantern?
He was a Yellow Lantern at one point. Because his powers were kind of weak. They stuck him, the Green Lanterns, when they captured him, they stuck him under a Sun Eater, under a red sun. So it really sapped his powers.
Oh, okay.
But they had the ultimate Green Lantern, which was Kyle Rayner was him, Ion. He was supposed to be so powerful he didn't need a ring. He was the embodiment of everything that powered the Green Lanterns. The race that the guy was that wore the host of him, he was Daxamite, I think, which is like a cousin of Kryptonian. Under a yellow sun, he had strength, he could fly and all that, but they weren't weak to kryptonite, they were weak to lead. But yeah, so they have Ion, and they just unveil Ion in the middle of the Sinestro War, and it's like, all right, this is going to be wicked. And then Superboy Prime, and his exact line of dialogue is, "Hey, Ion, you're talking all tough, but you don't look so special to me." Challenges him to a fight, and DC pretty much sacrifices Ion to show how powerful Superboy Prime is.
That's shit.
It is shit.
That's shit.
It is shit.
That'd be like in pro wrestling if fucking Mark Henry came out and jobbed to Heath Slater.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking horrible. Hey, look how tough Heath Slater is. We're gonna give him a push. You kidding me?
Right. So Superboy Prime, just his dialogue is not witty. It's just it's almost like that kid that has some kind of, I don't know. I want to say social. I'm not going to a bad area. It's like a kid that has bad social development skills. Like, he doesn't really know how to talk. It's like challenging our friend John Mall, to a Your Mama joke contest.
Yeah, you're going to win.
You're going to win because he doesn't really know how to do this, and that's how Superboy Prime was. And he came from a parallel Earth where he was the only one with powers. Now he's stranded, and everyone has powers, and he doesn't think any of them could be as great of a hero as he is. So he embarks on a killing spree.
So he's a schmuck.
He's a fucking schmuck, and a shucking fuck.
Sucks.
He fucking sucks. He sucking fucks. He does all that. But he's bitching all the time. My universe, my universe, my universe. And you're like,
go back to your universe,
he
douchebag.
can't. It doesn't exist anymore.
I don't give a fuck.
And he
We
shouldn't
can write
exist
that
with
in
it.
there.
Well, then in the Sinestro books, he kills a Guardian, one of the Green Lantern Guardians, and gets taken to the multiverse. Well, at the time, DC was going through a little bit of a copyright thing with the name Superboy. So they kill off regular Superboy, and with Superboy Prime, they age him to a man. So now he's Superman Prime. And
no.
And this is in the pages of Countdown, which is a horrible story anyway. And he's decked out in a black Superman outfit. There's this black costumed Superman going around the whole multiverse killing people. It could be cool. And you find out it's Superboy Prime, and he still talks like he's 12.
Like a bitch.
Still whines. He fights Monarch. And Monarch is like, he's like, you're not a man. You're just a boy pretending to be a man. So what's his comeback? No, I'm a man. I'm a man. Give him that real whiny voice,
He sounds like a bitch.
But the worst line of dialogue came in his fight with Monarch. And this is him being threatening. I know I told you this before. But he says, and I'm going to do it in the whiny voice, because I think Linkara was right when he said that's how he should sound, where he's like, I'll kill you. I'll kill you to death. And I'm like, the minute I read that, I'm like, someone hated the world enough to give us this line. It's bad enough it's come from this character.
You think, because, I've read, because when Rob Liefeld quit DC, he was talking about how he won most of his editorial battles. It's like, first off, you're letting him win editorial battles, and he sucks that bad. Rob Liefeld took an idea that I thought would be great, because there are two characters I like, Deathstroke versus Lobo, and he managed to piss all over it with his shitty artwork. But you'd think that the editor would get, I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you to death. Come on, dude. Think of another fucking...
It's fucking redundant.
I mean, if I was the editor, I'd be like, have him say something more threatening instead of that
what
bullshit.
you do is you tell the writer he has to go stand in the corner for an hour and think about what he's done. And that's the thing with most of the characters on both of our lists. I think what I think gets to us are great concepts just killed by bad writing. And what gets me with Superboy Prime is Jeff Jones wrote them. Create them. Jeff Jones is a great writer. Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns. And is a great writer, and he just failed with Superboy Prime. And they never kill him.
Is he still alive now?
Well, not because now DC did the whole New 52, so the whole universe got rewritten.
They're like, ooh, a way to get rid of him.
Well, I mean, it was a way to get most of their readers to go away too.
Were you done?
Well, I was just going to say that every time it looks like Superboy Prime's dead, he pops up alive.
Oh, shit.
They couldn't even kill him during Blackest Night.
Oh, shit. That sucks.
I had one more thing, and then we got to get out of here.
All right.
Those were pretty awesome lists, guys. Just, I really like Batman. I really love this idea of Batman and Superman and Man of Steel, too. Well, I listened to Kevin Smith, and he did a Q&A. He moderated a Q&A with Zack Snyder, Henry Cavill, and Amy Adams on it. And I think it was streamed live on Yahoo.
Okay.
Over the weekend. I think it was on Friday or Saturday. And that night, Kevin Smith did a podcast called Hollywood Babylon that he does every week. And he talked about after the interview, cameras were off, everything was done. He was talking to Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder said, hey, you want to see something? Kevin's like, yeah. Pulls out his iPhone, scrolls through some pictures and shows him. Kevin said he got to see a picture of the Batman costume with Ben Affleck in it.
Really?
Yeah. And he said, it's nothing like you've seen in movies before. He said, and I quote, if you're a comic book reader, you will love it. Comic book reader. So the only thing I can think of is it kind of went back to the, how the comic books, they're like modernized versions of Adam West's, the blue-gray or the dark blue. And
right. So basically, he probably has like the gray bodysuit with the black cowl and everything. Not just a pitch black.
Right.
outfit.
It's not all black armor, and he doesn't look like he's about to go to war. What they do with fucking RoboCop?
That's a whole nother podcast.
That bothered me. I seen a picture of RoboCop in all black. I was like, he looks like Batman without the cape.
Well,
but in the previews, they do show him as gray like he was in the original.
Well, it's funny in the previews is a guy that creates RoboCop's look is played by Michael Keaton. So I'm like, what do you expect when you ask Batman how he should look? Batman only knows one color.
Yeah. So, I got to wrap it up. I got to get packed up and get out of here. It was great having you guys here. I'm going to come back again if you guys are cool with
definitely.
that.
I've had fun. Hopefully next time the guy that was supposed to join us will be here because he's a big comic geek.
So, all right. Well, with From the Monkey Basement, I'm Mike Mann.
Adam Robbins.
Chris Sherrod or Chris Malice.
All right, bye. Hey, just want to let you know before I went. The guy that did the intro at the beginning of the show, you can find him on Twitter at the Scooby Doom, or you can go on YouTube and see some of his videos. Just search that Scooby Doom. He does voices. He does all kinds of videos. He's a good guy, and he'll help you out if you want. So check him out. Later.
If you're listening to us, you've probably already found us, but if not, you can find us at fromthemonkeybasement.podomatic.com and iTunes, nsfradio.com, and Stitcher Radio. Also, go on Facebook and find us at From the Monkey Basement. Go like our page, then follow us on Twitter at From the Monkey, and you can also find Aaron at Aaron and 2 Kids. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Just search From the Monkey Base.
From other demographics in. It's like, hey, that's fucking lame.
What is that?
That's